Hey guys, it is currently 12:55 in the morning on July 17th, and at the moment I'm getting ready to most likely take a nap. I slept for about an hour too long this morning, which sounds ridiculous, but when I sleep more than like 4 to 6 hours, usually 4 or 5 actually, I'm just exhausted. So a nap should reorient me at least enough that I can make it through the rest of the morning. So here in a few, I'm going to take hopefully a 20-minute nap so long as my alarm goes off. And then when I wake up, I'm going to switch back and forth between writing and Uncharted, both to keep my brain awake and to keep my joints happy. I'll be doing 6-minute sessions of each, and that should balance it well enough that I stay focused, I stay awake, and none of my joints get too sore or stiffened up. When I wake up, I'm going to start with Voice of the Wild Places Z, which I started forever ago and I haven't worked on yet this month. I have started with the books that I haven't worked on this month, and those are the ones that I've started on today, which I'm sure you've noticed, because all of the books that I have worked on so far this morning are ones that I haven't worked on this month yet. And that's probably a trend you've noticed, especially if these are your first videos on my channel. But I am waiting for one of my dogs to come back inside, and then I know that the little one will go out, and then once he's back in, I'm going to go ahead and set my alarm, whatever. I have about 50-ish minutes before I can't eat or drink anything, and I hate to sleep through that period of time instead of the period of time where I can't eat or drink for 2 hours. Technically 3 by the time I don't eat or drink for 2 hours, take my thyroid medication, and then don't eat or drink for another hour. And that's the time that I've been sleeping through, except for yesterday. I made it all the way through yesterday morning without any issue. But I don't think I can make it another 50 minutes without taking a nap first. But on top of being tired, my ear is killing me again, this one. So I'm also going to put some drops in that and hope that laying on my side and letting it be in my ear for a while helps at least a little bit, but we'll see. But yeah, that's the plan. I'm just working through writing today, editing later on today, so on and so forth, but we will see how things go, and sometime after I'm awake, I'll give you guys an update. I don't know how many words I'm planning on writing in Voice of the Wild Places Z. I know there's some research that I need to do for the part that they're approaching, which is about them finding like faucets, compass, nameplate, and I think maybe a watch. I can't remember if it's a pocket watch or if it's something completely different, but I know that the other two are a nameplate and a compass. It's a ring. The other one's a ring. I need to do research on those and find out where they were located, where they ended up, stuff like that. Because there are mixed stories between sources, and I have yet to look super deeply into all of those, but I do need to see how much of it needs to be fudged for fiction and how much of it is actually still there and has accessible information, basically. Which is all stuff that will be in my Lost City of Z research series eventually, but we'll get there. But yeah, I'm going to go see if the big dog wants back inside, and then little dog will go out, and then I'm going to take a nap. But hopefully progress goes relatively okay once I wake up. It'll probably take a while before things kick back into gear once I'm awake, but once they do, and once I make progress, I will give you guys an update on Voice of the Wild Places Z, and then on whichever book I work on afterwards. But I'm gonna get as much writing as I can, as much writing done as I can this morning before I go to sleep, just like I did yesterday where I met my word goal before I went to bed, so then I was able to work on editing once I woke up. That is what I would like to do today as well, but we will see how things go, and I will give you guys an update as soon as I have one to give. Alrighty, it is 4:13 in the morning on the 17th, and I'm just now getting back around to writing. I have been awake for a while, but I have been doing some things on Ko-Fi, some things on Pinterest. I opened up a business account instead of a normal account, and I was reformatting a few of my boards and whatever. And I still got a long way to go on that, but you know, I've been working on making it an author's page for quite a long time. A lot of the boards are related to my books and all of that, and anything that isn't directly related to my books is a private board. Even if it's like background inspiration for books, but all of it is book related. But I finally opened it into a business account, which basically the only difference for me is that it gives you analytics on how many people have seen the pin, how many people have pinned it, and how many people have shared it, I think. Pinterest is either hit or miss on if it's a great drive of traffic. Some authors have very great luck with it, others don't use it at all, and others don't have luck. But since I already actively use Pinterest in my free time, it's not like a time loss for me or anything like that. But I set that up, whatever. I was making efforts here across the board. But now I will finally get back into writing. I have Lost City of Z opened. I have caught up on the notes from the last time that I worked on it. It has been a while, 24 days. So I'm going to scroll back through it here in a few and just look at some stuff, see where to go. I do know that I need to research Fawcett's Ring, Nameplate, Compass, and Dead Horse Camp again, and the Matto Grosso. Dead Horse Camp is mostly just because at the moment they are discussing, this is one of the only things I remember, at the moment they are discussing the possibility that both coordinates given for Dead Horse Camp are completely false. Fawcett gave different coordinates to his wife and to the National Library or something. I can't remember what it is, but I think it's stationed. I don't know where it's stationed. It's not stationed, here we go, North American Newspaper Alliance. He gave different coordinates to both of them. The longitude or latitude, I can't remember which one. One of them is exactly the same between those two coordinates, and the other number is different by like 2 degrees. And some people think it's an error, some people think it's on purpose, but these characters are currently discussing the possibility that both of them are entirely incorrect, intentionally, of course, but put close enough together in an attempt to convince people that it is in that area. Percy Fawcett didn't want anyone else to follow him into the jungle, both because he wanted to find Z and he didn't want anyone else to be able to steal it from under him, and he believed that if he could not find Z, if he could not make it through that forest or that jungle alive, no one else could either. He had a lot of experience with expeditions and, there's a word for it, but making maps. He had experience walking through those areas and making maps of the areas, and he believed that if he couldn't survive in the green hell of the Matto Grosso, that no one else could either, and he didn't want people to come after him. And it took a long time, I know, for the Newspaper Alliance thing to convince him in the first place that he needed to be sending his coordinates and his updates and all of that, because he absolutely didn't want to. Again, both because he didn't want people to come after him if he disappeared, and because he didn't want anyone else to come in and steal Z from under him. I can understand both lines of thinking there, but these guys in specific are looking at, again, the possibility that both of them are incorrect, and because of that, I need to find a map of the Matto Grosso that's relatively recent. This book is set in... is the date up here anywhere? 2018, so definitely a recent map. And see if there's a clearing that their helicopter can land in, and if not, it's just a thing that I need to make up, which is fine. I don't care either way. I just like to have the background information first, and then outside of that, I need to look at the Matto Grosso in relation to the coordinates of Dead Horse Camp, where both of them were placed. I need to see how far away that is from a potential clearing that they could potentially land a helicopter in, and then I also need to see if either of those two coordinates is going to be correct, or if it's going to be somewhere else. A lot of moving parts, but, you know, it's fun. It's an experience. I know that there's some stuff that's going to need to be rewritten in later drafts and all of that, but I'm still having fun. I'm very nervous about this book, and I have been the whole time I've been writing it.
But I'm still very excited to be writing an adventure novel, and I'm very excited to be writing a treasure hunting novel, which, as you know, probably, heavily inspired by Uncharted. I love the Uncharted games. Will not be watching the Uncharted movie, but very inspired by the games and the treasure hunting there. It's the only, like, treasure hunting thing I've ever been interested in. So, a lot of my interest in writing a book comes from how many hours I've put into Uncharted. Writing an adventure book about treasure hunting, not books in general. But I have a couple of things I want to do first. Like, I need to go wash my face, just to wake myself up a smidge, but I'm relatively awake. I'm sure you can hear the drag in my voice every now and then, and that's just because I need to wake up just a little bit more. But I can't eat or drink anything but water until about 4:47-ish, and it's currently 4:19, so I'm gonna kill some time until I can drink coffee again, because I have a very hard time forcing myself to drink water. I know, not a great thing, but still, I think water is the most disgusting drink in the world, next to LaCroix. But I'm going to get through this, hopefully, see how it goes. If I want to hit 17,500 words by the end of the month, which turns it into a novella, I would need to write 636 words every single day, so I'm going to see if I can hit that 600 words, but I'm also going to potentially do the research on those other ones, and I think most of that is just going to be researching and much less of actually writing anything down. I'm still probably going to end up having to write little itty-bitty bits of information down, but I don't think a lot of it is going to be typing anything out, so a lot of my time this morning is probably going to be spent doing research and getting almost no writing done, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just mildly annoying. I enjoy research, I love research, I'm a big nerd, but it does suck that I might have to spend a lot of hours doing it and not be able to write down anything in regards to it. I feel like I might be able to get a couple sentences, but unless a whole bunch of articles come up, there won't be a lot of writing. So, we'll see how that goes, but I'm gonna go wash my face, and then we'll go from there. I'm going to write up until the point that they absolutely need to start doing the research for the nameplate and all of that stuff, because at the moment they're still just discussing, so I can write on that for a little bit, and then we'll go from there and see what happens. But I will give you guys an update when I have an update to give. I'm going to work on this one for as long as I can before I switch, but I think that if I start dragging or progress just isn't being made, I'll switch books and we'll see what happens. But regardless, I will give you guys an update at some point. Alrighty, so it is 5:56 in the morning at the moment, and my internet's having trouble. This has been attempting to load for like the last 10 minutes. But I do know that there are 2 places on this map, and I've had this map saved to my phone for a bit, but I've never researched this one or this one. I recall seeing this one in the article that David Gran wrote, and I think I've seen this one in that article as well, but I never researched them. So I need to do that. This one is an Indian tribe, I do believe. This one I'm not 100% sure what it is, but I would hope that it's the last Indian tribe that saw them, because this is not the last Indian tribe that saw them. That would be I believe it's pronounced Kalapalo, but I've never looked, so it could be like Kalopo or 100 other things. But I need to research these to see what they are, and so on and so forth, so that way I have them, so that way they're there. So I'm going to do that later today when this isn't happening. But it also prevents me from finding a few other things about it. I was going to find the coordinates of the Kalapalo tribe, but nowadays they're in a different area than they would have been when Fawcett found them. They're now in a Xingu reserve, and I don't know when that happened, but I know it was definitely after Fawcett saw them. But I've been taking scratch notes, which you can sort of see that. I've been writing down coordinates and the methods that she's using to go through and change the coordinates and all that fun jazz. And then also the way that I take notes like this, if I don't want to use notebook paper, I just fold sticky notes and attach them to each other, and then when they're done, they can just fold up in a little pamphlet fold, and I'm going to do that all the way through, and by the end this is going to be a ton of sticky notes, but I really do like taking notes this way, so it makes them easy to like put with my other notes once everything's done. But I do need to research these two things, and then also at some point, in order to find out coordinates, this here is the only map that I have that has an outline of Bolivia, which is on the edge of Mato Grosso state, and this one has the coordinates, and that map would put you right about here-ish if they were overlapped. You can see that the shape is sort of different. Oops, zoom out a bit more. You can see the shape is a little different, but it's not too bad that it won't match up at all. So at some point I do need to merge those together so that way I can get the longitude and the latitude and all that fun stuff. But that'll happen eventually. But at the moment, I'm gonna go do a couple things and see if I can't get the phone on my internet or the internet on my phone to work a bit better than here. But if not, I'm just going to go ahead and try to write the rest of the 600 words. Last time I checked, I'd written a little over 500, so I have less than like 100 to write to meet the 623 or whatever the heck the goal was. And if I can do that without the extra research, that's great. And then I can come back to the research later on. But if I do that, then I'm going to move on to the next book. So I will see you in a few, hopefully, with a quick update on the word count of this book of Z, and then I'll move on from there and see what I can accomplish before I go to sleep.
Hey guys, it is currently 9:05 p.m. and I just finished edit 4 of Man of Darkness, notes included. I edited 4,910 words today. There you go. And I haven't done the math to see how many words I wrote in the notes, but I will show you that here in a few before I move on to filming for the Man of Darkness beginning to end series. But at the moment there are 32,374 words in this document, but that will change once I actually go through and accept the suggestions that I have made this edit, because they're just suggestions at the moment. So anytime that I have like deleted words, those words are still counted in that word count, I think. I can't say for 100%, but I'm like 90% sure that's how that works. But I am going to go ahead and open up the notes on the computer here in a moment and print them off so that way I can go through them and highlight certain things, write down certain things, and make sure that everything lays together correctly, and then go from there. And then I'm probably going to suggest all of the changes, which there have been 110 in this document. After that, I'll be able to move on and take a break before edit 5. If there are any changes that need to be made from the timeline to the book, that's stuff that I'll do in edit 5 so that way I don't have to go back through and scroll through the entire book again without actually changing anything, because I don't want to make any more changes at this point until edit 5. But it'll give me a nice cooldown period, but for now, tonight, I'm going to go through these notes, see what happens, see what comes up, and we'll go from there. The more in-depth stuff will be in the beginning to end series eventually, once I get around to editing those videos and uploading them. But for now, the basics is edit number 4 is done. You'll have a word count for the notes that I took today here in a few, and then by the end of the night you should have an actual word count for how many words are in Man of Darkness, but we'll see. But I'm going to turn on the printer here in a second and go ahead and print these notes off. Although I'm going to record a Man of Darkness video first so I can do a time lapse of printing them off. So I'm going to do that. And then I'll see you guys with an update on this, the note taking and all that fun jazz here in a few.